Hi, my name is Steve Bax. I'm a wild turkey biologist for the state of Indiana. Today I'm going to demonstrate on how to process wild turkey gobbler from the springtime, as well as mount the tail, the beard, and the spurs from this particular bird. First thing we're going to do is process the meat. And the basic tools for processing the meat, of course, will be having a sharp knife. I like to wear some type of rubber gloves just to keep the smell off my hands and stuff after processing. And because I'm accident prone, I often recommend that you wear a fillet glove to keep from cutting your hand. Ziploc bags will be for putting the meat in. The first thing we want to do with this bird is flip it over carefully. And the other thing I forgot to mention is I have a bowl here full of water. But what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the tail so that we don't damage it during the processing. Lift the tail up from the back end here and try to pull as many of these feathers as you can. And you go down and you look for the anal opening, pull the feathers back, and you can cut right in here and it will start to peel back. And once you get that peeled back pretty well, you can kind of cut. There's a little bit of a ligament and bone there, and cut up there, cut a little bit of hide with it. And there we have the tail. We'll set that aside for right now. Tail's still in pretty good shape. It's not missing any of the rectrices from tromping around in the woods there. So we'll set that over to the side for now. We'll now take the gobbler, and the next thing we'll remove is the beard. If you trace down here to the base of where the beard is, you'll get down into some fleshy material. You kind of pull the base of that beard out and cut it as close to the body as you can, and you'll pull some feathers off with it, which is fine. And then what I like to do on the cutting board here is very quickly, while I have it in my hand, is just trim off that excess tissue, and we'll set that aside for right now too. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to spread the legs and we're going to remove the breast. Now, the breast area, there's a keel. You'll feel the bone right here, and that is kind of the center of where we're going to work from as we remove the breast material. Now, this bird was frozen, so it may be a little bit stiff compared to a bird that you just shot. We didn't gut the bird, and you don't really need to eviscerate the bird when you're in the field if you know you're going to get back to where you can process it very quickly. If you're not, I suggest that you go ahead and eviscerate the bird and fill it up with some ice while you're traveling to keep the bird cool if you don't have a cooler to put the whole turkey into. All right, you'll feel on the breast, and there's a keel bone right here. It's got a little knob, and I like to reach in there, and you can get underneath the tissue with the sharp side up. You just work your way down. Some people will actually pluck some of the feathers away. I think we can get by without doing that if you pull the material back, the skin back, and it's a little stiff because it was frozen. And now we got some of the hide there, and you feel the center of the bone. You cut down there, and you work your knife along the side of the bone. And like I said, we've got a frozen turkey here. Should be able to pull this hide back. Expose that large chunk of breast meat. This is primarily biggest chunk of meat on the bird. And if it's an adult gobbler, the leg meat will be pretty tough. Most people are pretty satisfied just to recover this part of the breast meat. If you work your fillet knife down, you come all the way down to the and you've got a large chunk of meat here, and you pull off some of the feathers. And for the time being, we'll just set this over to the side to soak and get some of the feathers off of it. Later on, you can decide whether you want to keep it a whole breast, or if you want to take it, put it on a cutting board and slice it into small strips, which you can fry and use, or cut it into chunks, which you could use for a stew. We took our breast meat off earlier, and one of the things I wanted to show too is the proper trimming of it. Sometimes I get calls from hunters who, on the front end of their breast, they'll see this yellow material that looks kind of pussy to them, and they want to know if the animal is diseased. What that is what we call the breast sponge. That's where a turkey gobbler stores a lot of the fatty material that it will feed off of during the breeding season while it's breeding. And it's important when you are cleaning up your bird that you go ahead and remove that material. Just trim it off the edge of the breast. It's a yellow, kind of waxy looking material, and you'll find it in a couple other places here, but wild turkeys are one of the few birds that can store large amounts of fatty material, and gobblers will do this because they spend more time during the breeding season breeding than feeding. So just go around and kind of trim that up, and you can see those little pieces. Get rid of them there. You'll also see some large tendons, and if you decide to cut up your meat, you'll want to remove those tendons. The other thing you'll want to do is look in the meat for feather trails from where the shot went through the birds, and then you can pluck out some of the shot and make sure that that's out of there so that you're not chewing on it. It's kind of hard on dentures and other teeth. So that's pretty much our bird there. I'm going to take off some of this material here, and again, we're going to set it in water and let it soak for a while, and we'll come back to that later. And you can, of course, cut it up or leave it whole and then put it in a bag, and be sure you mark your bag as to what the breast tissue is and the date, and that way when it gets lost in the freezer, you'll still know when it was taken and when it's time to get it eaten.